Welcome to this week's beta breakdown where we play betas that were on the Steam Next Fest, so we had to hurry and play it before it went away. My name is Joel DeWitt from Super GG Radio, and with me today I have from Damage Boost Podcast from the After the Hype Network, Brock Holiday. What's up, Brock?
Not a whole lot. I'm excited to fight giant sausage and bird people with you.
Yeah, like any dad does. This is Dad by the Sword. It is what you might imagine it is. It's a very silly, punny kind of humor wrapped over a first-person, I guess, action game. It's not a shooter.
It's like Doom with a sword. It's kind of how I felt.
Yeah, which I'm not complaining about.
Yep.
I think it's perfectly acceptable. You're going to see a lot of interesting things that add a little bit of complication instead of just having to swing your sword back and forth. So, as you can see, it's a very solid color palette, right? Everything is pretty sharp in terms of color changes. The lighting's nice, so that's kind of a cool animated flame. So you get an idea of the kind of vibe you're gonna get from that. All your health all your health is ribs.
Yeah, I love that, by the way.
Yep.
Especially as someone who can't typically afford to eat ribs a lot, I enjoyed that was an option.
I like the bead curtain door, so that's kind of neat. Oh, a lot behind me.
It reminds me of a little bit of the Wind Waker kind of style, and in the way that this will be ageless. This game could be played 10 years ago, 10 years from now, and it won't feel necessarily old. It'll just feel like it's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's funny. You're pretty right about the Wind Waker experience. And so, full disclosure, Wind Waker HD I got on the Wii U. I played an hour of it, went, this is really cool, got to the first sort of battle area, and it just dropped off. That is my shame that I haven't finished that. But
I was one of the original people who refused to play it. I didn't play it till 10, 15 years past the point.
Oh yeah? Why was that?
Because I was of the hype when they had that demo where they showed the really hyper-realistic Link fighting, and everyone was thinking that was going to be the next game, and then Wind Waker was. So I was like, oh, this isn't what Zelda's supposed to. I was dumb and young, basically.
Oh,
That's what it comes down to.
I remember that. Now, I didn't see the demo vert build until after all the controversy happened, so that's an expectation thing, right? Nintendo set an expectation that you would get your super realistic Zelda, because that was after Ocarina of Time, right? Am I remembering that right? Okay, and what I do remember was it was such a cool experience going from Kid Link to Adult Link, and it went from cheerful to super serious, and everybody was thinking oh man, I love this part. I want to be the adult Link in the serious combat. Now, that said, I'm having a hell of a time figuring out what to do here.
You got to do your sword jump by the area, and then you'll jump over on the ledge.
All right, sword jump. You're gonna help me.
You hold I think it's right click, and you charge it and bring it down. That's how you jump. I think. Maybe it's left click.
My goodness, I am gonna.
So, yeah, there you go.
Here, last select.
Block jump. Yep, it is right click.
All right.
So you should be able. Yeah.
Oh, you have the space bar. That's right.
Oh, space bar.
Yeah. So that's on me here, but more beetle doors.
So when I played through it, I'll admit, did not pay that much attention in the tutorial. I'm like, it's kind of like Chivalry 2. I get it. This is kind of the gist of it. And it's a lot more to think with the combat. It's a lot more tactical than it probably looks, even watching somebody play it right now.
Yes. So, for our viewers here, I am actually placing a directional area for my attacks and blocks. The left clicker on the mouse is the attack. The right is sort of a stance or block, and my sword is broke. Wow. Can I did another sword. Am I in trouble? Look at this.
Yeah, if you swing flail too much, it goes wobbly, and then it will break. So you can't, it punishes you for spamming.
Okay.
Essentially.
So I'm doing my just desserts here.
Yeah.
So while we repeat here, the combat works like this. You are having a left click, that is your sword attack. Your right click is a sword defensive stance. I am actually having to move my mouse from left to right or up to down to try to shift my defensive stance or my attack stance. I can also use the arrow buttons while I move to do so as well. Now, it's I don't want to say finicky, but it is very tough to wield. You have to be very deliberate in your movements. And one nice thing I can say about it from the demo at least is that it never gets so challenging where you can't take a moment and get your bearings again.
Yep. It's got a good pace so far, for sure.
Yeah. Now, of course, this is the demo, so it's always comes with the reservation that things are subject to change from demo period to the launch period. But generally speaking, I think they've nailed the feeling. Now, like you sort of mentioned before, this game has a lot of humor, steeped in sort of the dad jokes mentality here. So, we got a kick. Look at that foot there. How many socks do you have without the...
So many. Like, that got me. I guess we could... Just for anybody who doesn't know, we're both dads, and having the big toe coming through the sock, just right on it. And also, for me, being right-handed, but also wearing all my watches on my right hand still, even though you're supposed to do it in your opposite of your dominant hand. Like, I don't know, nice little personal touch for me.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And it's always funny, because it's not like you can't afford socks. It's just, there's a certain threshold they have to meet before they are tossable.
And even at that point, they become rags for like cleaning grease off of things or whatnot.
I mean, that's just being sensible with your money. So we got some accessories we can do here. There's some knockdown boosts, an air horn, so that's pretty good, and then dancing shoes. I don't know about you, but when I play games, I kind of like to be obnoxious. It's kind of the fun of things, because it's a harmless place to be obnoxious.
Being the villain, right? That was your series you guys started?
Yep. I will come back to that someday once Vampire Survivors stops being a thing. But
I think every time I log on, I see that you're playing Vampire Survivors.
Yeah. We already killed you.
That one just
Yeah. It's caught our family by storm. My kids have moved on from it, but it's kind of funny. My wife, she doesn't play that many games that have any active input besides Mario. But something about that one, it caught her eye, and she felt like she wanted to get in on the action. Because originally when we started streaming that game, it was just me playing, and then we switched from me playing and her choosing which item power-up things I get to pick up. And then eventually she got so into it that she wanted to play too. One of the coolest things about that, though, is that because she had been watching, she started with sort of an innate understanding of what to do, and she picked it up a lot easier than I did.
That is nice.
Then she's just smarter, so I mean that goes into it a little bit too. But it is cool the kind of observations you get to make when you're interacting with somebody who doesn't play games too often.
It's the different perspectives always help you learn more type of deal.
Oh yeah. One thing I came across was that the Washington Post did a podcast about the Last of Us TV show, and they have a dedicated person to capture the news on video games. And he was asked by this journalist, okay, what would you recommend somebody who wants to pick up a game for the first time start with? And he went with, well, if you like The Last of Us, you should get a PlayStation 5 and God of War. Not if you've played The Last of Us game, if you have watched The Last of Us TV show.
Yeah, it's the narrative type the feel.
Yeah. Now,
It's an interesting thought.
so my umbrage with it, and I mean it in no harmful terms about it, but if you've watched somebody play games for the first time, the idea of moving in a 3D space right away naturally is not going to happen. And it's a tough learning curve, especially for someone who's an adult.
Right.
Like, from my experience, what you see is the person understanding 2D and then having to sort of master that before they then move on to moving in a more 3D space. It's just a weird, complex shift that, like, we grew up learning that, right?
Yep, it's innate at this point.
Right. It's a second language, fluently. Oh, that's cool.
Especially the wood panel and the deer reminds me of my my grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our basement has some wood paneling on it. It's clear that somebody had an aspiration to make the basement like a finished basement hangout space, and then put up wood paneling, and then did nothing else. Gave up on the project.
So the dad, that's our dad's generation is what it feels like, with the tube TV, the wood panel, the Atari.
Yep.
So I'm not old enough to be the old dad yet. That's nice. I like that.
You know what's funny? I'm actually looking to see if I can get an old TV like that. Those.
Thrift stores, man. They have tube TVs coming out the wazoo.
Yeah, I should see if I can find the good space for that, because the only thing I was finding so far was Facebook Marketplace, which, like, I
don't like to buy in from there. It's not great.
Yeah, that's my sort of thing. Like, I don't really want to hang out at someone's house waiting for them to go and then asking for help to thing out. Maybe I should use the block button. I don't know about you, but in games, I love to be offensive and don't think about defensive stuff until I hit a brick wall on the offense.
This and Chivalry, I'm like, instead of blocking, I'm going to, run around or run back and let them attack and then counterattack. I'm not a huge, that's my least favorite part of Elden Ring, is when you is trying to parry.
Yep.
And learn all that. Like, I'm more of a, I'll just die instead.
Yeah, that's the beat your head over the wall over and over tactic.
For your father and I kept dying before this point.
Yeah, not bad. Okay, can we get that? Sure.
Deflection.
Get that?
The bowling ball is amazing.
Get that.
You can get all of them? I'm an idiot.
I'm learning too.
So when I played this, I assumed you could only grab one thing. Mm-hmm. So I would grab one thing and leave. Turns out you can get multiple things.
That might be a demo thing, or maybe I don't think we picked up any money, did we? I didn't notice anything.
Oh, I didn't notice
I think maybe they're being generous for the. Oh man.
Can you? Yeah. So I guess it's probably a demo thing, but the one thing that was hard for me, getting deeper in, and health is less plentiful, and
right.
I kept dying because I'd be like half a heart, and there'd be a room like these guys.
So I guess we'll see if we can get back to that spot, but that might have just been just a tease for what those items maybe could be doing.
Gotcha.
So you were mentioning looking at the Kickstarter before that.
Yeah. They are right now kind of below their goal, which I've worked with guys who have done Kickstarters for games they're trying to make. It's not easy. I think people assume if you do a Kickstarter, you just kind of get it. And it's not that way. It's even the people who do get it, there's a lot of work typically gets put into it. They're at 12 days to go. They have a goal of 50,000. They're at a little below 7. Mm-hmm. 136 backers. But they got a lot of work put into the page. They got some decent tiers too. My favorite being getting 3 T-shirts of Dad by the Sword for the $150 tier. But you get your own copies. There's higher up you go, you get to include your favorite dad joke in the game.
Nice.
If you do 500, you can co-design a sword and shoe to be featured in the game.
Oh wow.
1,000 co-design a dad accessory, one of your left-handed items, And then for 2,000, put your dad in the game as a playable dad class that anybody can play. Which, if I like had disposable income, that alone right there, I would do that.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
I think if I had the means, what would be just fun is to fund as many projects as possible that looked interesting.
Yep.
And just see which ones lift off and which don't, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, feeding the ecosystem that we love is not a bad thing.
No. And then you get to learn like what works and what doesn't, you know? And that's a cool part of the process.
So right now they have D&D style little templates, which are pretty cute. There's only two dad classes, the ones that are featured. There's no other ones yet because the extra classes will be if people back it by that much. But there's the Power Dad, which is the OG one, which we're playing as, and it's featured in the picture smoking the cigarette and having the Reagan Bush t-shirt. Starting equipment, sock with hole in it, the Dad Slayer sword, and disadvantage lactose intolerant.
Lactose intolerant?
Yep. And then the other class that you can play as is Cyber Dad, which starting weapon is a cybernetic arm, a gun, and its disadvantage is lava, which I enjoyed.
I don't think I've seen much in the way of lava yet.
Oh, it's because he's supposed to be like the T1 or T1000 or whatever.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. We get to start watching those soon, which I'm pretty pumped about.
There's two perfect ones, and then one solid one, and then there's others.
You know, we just got finished going through the Halloween series, and I think no matter what part of this movie series, it'll be a palate cleanser for me. That was
the one.
Yeah.
The one with the lady from Game of Thrones was really tough watch. That one's not good.
Which one is that?
It's the one before the last one they did.
Oh, okay.
Which the last one also was not great.
You didn't like Halloween Ends?
Oh no, I'm thinking. I meant of the Terminator series.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. All right.
No, the new Halloweens were fine. They're fine.
So I think
Evil dies tonight.
Yeah, for all the good that there is in that series, that will be the thing that sticks in my head forever.
I will message Brian just out of no reason, just Evil dies tonight, just randomly. I just think about it.
That is unkind.
And if I'm reading all this correctly, I believe this game is made by one person.
That's always cool to see.
We're working. Well, they say we, so I guess it's probably just a few people. I misread that, but then the other stuff they have posted, it uses I instead of we. So here we go. I have a couple of friends and myself. So yeah, I'm guessing probably a group of like 2 to 3 people.
Yeah, and I'm always impressed with what just a few people can do when they've got the passion to work on this stuff. You think?
I mean, Cuphead.
Yeah. Cuphead. Yeah. You think? As much as I've got problems with him, Minecraft was made by one person.
Yeah.
And Stardew Valley, that was another great one.
I play that almost nightly at this point in my life.
All right, so I think we've given people a good feel for what this game looks like, an idea of what we're working on, trying to build towards, and what the developer is trying to achieve. All in all, I think it's a neat proof of concept, and I hope and imagine that they've already built out something close to what they want to see in this game. Any final thoughts?
I love it, though. Being an older person in their mid-30s, the original Doom feel is what really kept me playing. Like the going from room to room, kind of not being 100% sure where I am, but like loving killing all the things that pop in the room. That is the biggest appeal for me. So if you love that kind of feel and that style, and almost that sense of exploration, I think it's worth putting it on your Steam list, because that's going to help the creator get it funded.
Is there a price out there? Did you see that?
I have not seen a price. Since they're still in the funding phase. The minimum donation, though, if anybody's interested, is $5, and you get exclusive Discord access for that.
There you go. And that way, it's always great to follow those, because they give a lot of updates about how their progress is going. whether they need help on certain aspects of the project. It's really sort of an enthusiast way to want to see things from start to finish. So I encourage anyone to do that as well. Brock, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me with Damage Boost Podcast, new episodes every Tuesday. And you can also check out my Mario Party YouTube channel, which is Super Mario Party Bros, for all your Mario Party embedded needs.
Awesome. It's nice talking to you, Brock. For anybody else who's listening, you are with Super GG Radio, and we can be found anywhere on most social media platforms. Good game, Brock.
Good game, Joel.
For more content like this, check out Super GG Radio on all podcast services for weekly conversations about betas, demos, news, and clearing out our backlog. You can also find us on twitch.tv/superggradio and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you there!